Some stories are simple, some are short, but some, like The Gift of the Magi, are both, and yet they linger in our hearts long after we've heard them. Written by O'Henny in 1905. This short story has touched readers around the world for more than a century. It's not because of a surprising plot twist or dramatic adventure. It's because the story speaks to something timeless: the power of love, the beauty of giving, and the quiet strength of sacrifice. Jim and Della are a young couple living in a modest apartment in New York City. It's the early 1900s, and life is hard. They have very little to stuff, few belongings, old furniture, and the constant challenge of making ends meet. But what they lack in wealth, they make up for in love. They care deeply for each other, and this Christmas, they both want to show it with a special gift. Della has saved every penny she could, collecting coins for weeks. But after all her effort, she has just $1.87 nowhere near enough to buy a proper gift for Jim. Still, her love drives her to think bigger. She glances at herself in the mirror and sees the one thing she has that holds value: her long, beautiful hair. Without hesitation, she walks to a wig shop and sells it. With the money, she buys a stunning chain for Jim's prized possession, his family pocket watch. What Della doesn't know is that Jim has been planning a surprise of his own. Wanting to bring joy to Della, he's noticed how often she admires a set of decorative combs in a shop window. They're elegant, graceful, perfect for her hair. But Jim doesn't have the money, so he sells his treasured pocket watch, the one passed down from his grandfather, and uses the money to buy those very combs. That evening, they exchange gifts. Della hands Jim the chain. Jim opens the box and quietly smiles. Then he gives Della the combs. She opens them and tears fill her eyes. Their gifts are beautiful, thoughtful, meaningful, and completely unusable. Della has no hair to wear the combs. Jim has no watch for the chain. But both of them understand something in that moment. What matters most isn't the gift. It's the love behind it. This is where the story's irony touches us deeply. Their sacrifices have, in one way, canceled out the usefulness of their gifts. But at the same time, they have revealed something greater: the selfless devotion each has for the other. Oh, Henry ends the story by calling Jim and Della the wisest of all gift givers, comparing them to the Magi, the wise men who brought gifts to the baby Jesus. The message is clear. When love motivates giving, it becomes sacred, even if the result is imperfect. Let us take a moment to reflect on some of the key words that help us understand this story on life itself on a deeper level. Priceless. This means something so valuable, so meaningful that money cannot measure its worth. Their love is priceless. Their willingness to sacrifice is priceless. The emotions we feel from this story, they're priceless. To treasure something is to hold it close to your heart. Jim treasured his watch. Della treasured her hair. But even more, they treasured each other's happiness. That kind of devotion isn't common, but it's what makes love truly lasting. Sacrifice. This is when we give up something important to us for the benefit of someone else. It doesn't always feel easy. In fact, it often comes with pain. But sacrifice, when born from love, becomes a beautiful act of connection. Irony. Irony is when the opposite of what we expect happens, especially in a meaningful way. Jim sells his watch to buy Della combs. Della sells her hair to buy Jim a watch chain. It's ironic, but it's not Sadit's poetic. It reminds us that love isn't about logic. It's about heart selflessness. True selflessness means putting someone else's needs before your own, not out of obligation, but out of love. Jim and Della's story is soaked in selflessness, and in a world that often praises their actions stand as a gentle protest, proof that giving without expectation is still possible. Now pause for a moment. Think about your own life. Have you ever made a sacrifice for someone you love? Given your time, let go of something so someone else could smile. Maybe you've worked late so your family could have what they need. Maybe you've listened to a friend when you were exhausted. Maybe you've stayed silent to keep peace. These moments may feel small, but they're not. They are the threads that stitch love together. In a world that often defines value by price tags, the gift of the Magi reminds us that the most important things we give are invisible. Our time, our patience, our presence, our love. Jim and Della gave everything they had, and in doing so, they discovered that love is not measured in what we keep, but in what we're willing to let go of. So, what will you give? What act of love, however small, can you offer today? Maybe a kind word, maybe a moment of listening, maybe forgiveness. The beauty of giving isn't in the object, it's in the heart behind it. And that heart is where true wisdom lives. Thank you for being here and for listening to this timeless story. If it touched your heart, share it with someone who needs a reminder that even in a world full of noise and pressure, love pure, giving, quiet, love still matters. Subscribe if you'd like more stories like this. And in the comments, tell us, what's the most meaningful gift you've ever given or received? We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, stay kind, stay giving, and remember, sometimes the richest people are the ones who give the most, even when they have the least.